Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar entitled Rover Webinar, November 2018 New Feature Summary, presented by Tyrus McGlone, Stay in Touch Implementations Consultant. My name is Justin Derisi, and I'm your host for this presentation. Today's presentation will cover how you can get the most out of November's Rover version 4.8 product release. This release is all about capturing and organizing data. In this presentation, we're going to cover tracking active and inactive users in Rover's inactive user filter, navigating Rover's availability calendar, organizing room types and maintaining your organization across multiple screens, scanning guest passports to retrieve key details and demographics, and analyzing valuable guest statistics like guest stay information, revenue earned, and no-show cancellation data. We will also have a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation by clicking on the question box in the middle of the control panel. We will answer them in the order that they are received towards the end of the presentation. And that's all I have for now. Tyrus, I'm going to hand the presentation over to you. There we go.
Thank you, Justin. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Tyrus McGlone. I am the implementation consultant with Stay in Touch. As Justin mentioned, I will go over a few of the hot topics from the previous release that we released about a week and a half ago, and also two topics from released probably about a month and a half ago. So before I begin, I would like to tell you that two of the topics will apply only to our overlay customers. I will begin with those topics first. Those topics are the tracking of active and inactive users, as well as scanning guest passport and IDs. Again, I will start with those topics first as they apply to overlay and standalone clients. The remainder three topics will only apply to our PMS only clients. So first, I will start with the tracking of active and inactive users. So when creating a user within Rover, of course, you would start with the settings option by going to hotel and staff and user setup. Roughly about a month and a half ago, we had the option to include inactive users. Of course, whenever you are creating a new user, you will be generated with an email to activate your account. If you do not activate your account, you will be considered an inactive user. So today, I will go through the process of creating a brand new user and show you how that account will not turn active unless you actually activate it, or you can actually manually activate it with the little active toggles on the right-hand side of my screen. So I'll proceed with going to add new. And I will create a user. And just like creating any user within Rover, you will need a valid email address, as well as a password that must be 8 characters long. So I'll enter the password here and I'll duplicate that. Job title I will enter. And at the very bottom of the screen, we have two more imperative options, which are the user roles and the dashboard. So the user role that I will assign to this actual user, I'll go ahead and give a hotel admin for this user. And then last is the default dashboard. Now this will default to a manager's dashboard only. I'll just go through the drop down, select manager, and I will save changes. Now, right now, if I go through the actual user setups, well, the users that have been created, I'll go through and I do not see the actual new user for Eric test in which I just created. I will click on include inactive users. And I'll just scroll back down to page 2. And I actually have this new user which I just created under Eric test. And as you can see, it is currently inactive. Now, again, if you have a valid email address on file, the actual user will get an email in order to activate that account. by entering their temporary password as well as a new permanent password. Once this permanent password is set into place and saved, this will automatically turn to an active account for you. If you were to enter a password manually and you wanted to permanently activate this account, you can also toggle this on manually versus going through your email. So I can just hit this toggle here and it turns to an active account. So if I were to go back and uncheck this include inactive users, I'll go back to page 2. And I have Eric Test, which is the user I just created, which is now active. Again, this was a manual activation. So if you were to generate a new user with a valid email address, in order to activate it, they will have to go to that email address to actually set up a new password. The second feature that I would like to explain would be the scanning of passports and IDs, which is from our latest release. So I'm going to simply go to a guest reservation. And now this guest can be in-house already or it can be an arrival reservation. I'll go through an arrival reservation here. And I will click on any guest. I'll click on, let's see, Brett Favre. And I will simply go to the guest toggle here at the top right-hand portion of my screen where it has guest equals to 1. When I drop that down, it has an option for guest ID. Now, guest ID is where you will actually upload the image. This must be an image that must be a JPEG image with, well, I'm sorry, no more than 10 megabytes of an image. So JPEG or PNG. If I click on the guest ID, it gives me the option to upload images. Now you can upload either a passport or a driver's license. You can select that identification type at the top here by ID card or passport. I will select passport. I can upload the image, which is front or back. I'm going to upload image. I'll pull up. This is a sample image that I currently have on my computer, and I will save this image. Once you have saved the image, you will know that you will have the purple drop down to edit or modify this image here. You can go back and re-upload the image if you feel that the image may have an error. Now, currently, if you were to upload this image for some of our Zest Station customers, if you're using your iPad to upload an image currently, the demographics on the left-hand side of the screen will automatically populate. So far as the date of birth, the nationality, the ID number, and the expiration date. This manual upload right now will not populate the demographics on the left-hand side of the screen. Again, this is only if we are utilizing an iPad for Zest Station. And the same thing for a driver's license. So I have 2 images saved here. So this is a really cool feature, of course, for identification purposes. If you ever have a guest that come down and maybe they don't have the ID, if they need to simply pick up a key or something of that nature, they will always have identification on file. All right, another feature I would like to go over, again, this is for standalone clients only, navigating through Rover's availability calendar. So the availability calendar is at the top right-hand portion of the screen. It opens up the availability calendar. I'll give you a brief refresher on the availability calendar. Of course, you have 3 different format views. You have a default view of 14 days. You have a view of 7 days as well as 30 days. When you open the calendar, it will automatically default to a 14-day view. And you can also modify the date. It will default to the standard current date of November 19th, but you can change the date to any date in the future. So the cool topic of the availability calendar, the clickable rooms. If you go to the available rooms tab, which is shaded in green, if you have a little chevron arrow, that means that it does allow you to break down more detailed information. If I click on available rooms, for example, Monday the 19th of November, it gives me 19 rooms total. Below that, it gives me a breakdown of how those 19 rooms are broken up. So I have 2 standard queen, I have 3 king deluxe, It looks like I have 4 executive 2-queen bed, and etc. And this goes so on. Anything shaded any darker gray will reveal that the hotel room type level is 5 rooms or less. Anything that's not shaded in darker gray means that you have 6 rooms or more. And this is standard across the board for all of the standalone hotels. Now, going to the new future part, if someone called in and they wanted to book 2 queen beds for November 19th, if I go to the availability calendar, it will show me that I have 2 of these available for November 19th, standard queen beds. If I click on the 2, it takes me directly to the reservation creation screen for today's date only. I can, of course, finagle the departure date by entering staying for 1 night or up to 5 nights or etc. But the room type here automatically defaults to the standard queen, which is what I selected on the availability calendar. I'll proceed with making a reservation. And that reservation is confirmed based on clicking that available room number in the availability calendar. I'll go back to the calendar for 1 moment. I'll also give you another available room type. For example, if I wanted to do a premium queen on November 20th, it looks like I have 3 available. And again, if I click on the premium queen, it also takes me to that particular room type on the reservation creation screen. This way, there's no confusion about booking the incorrect room type when someone calls in. An additional hot topic feature that I would like to go over is the organization of room types. So if you go into the back end setting of Rover, looks like I've been logged out here for a second. All right, so I'm going to go to the back end setting of Rover by going to settings, and I'll proceed to rooms, and then you have your room types. Now, this is a certain order of room types. You can sort this in your preferred desired order by just a simple drag and drop. So I have standard queen, king deluxe, executive 2-queen, premium queen, junior suite room. And again, these can be finagled and manipulated with a simple drag and drop. So if I wanted to put junior suite room at the very top of my list, I'll simply drag that to the top. And I'll put the standard suite just beneath the junior suite room. And I'll also put the Bayview Terrace just beneath the standard suite as well. So this is the order that I've just finagled. However, since I've actually reorganized my room types, this will appear in the rate manager, the availability calendar, and also while making a reservation, if you were to pull up room types, it appears in the exact same order in which I desire. I will go back to my availability calendar here. And I'm going to go to the available rooms tab here. So the available rooms tab, as you can see, this is the exact same order that I rearranged my room types. So I have the junior suite room, I have a standard suite, and I also have a Bayview Terrace suite. Now these are the same room types that I rearranged in the actual room type category. So this should never change. And again, it also modifies in the rate manager as well as the room type selection while making a reservation. So I will proceed to the rate manager by going to menu, revenue management, rate manager. I'll select the date range. And I'll also sort it and show by room types. And I just hit show all room types. And again, it gives me all of the room types that I have in that particular order in which I rearranged in the back end admin configuration screen. So as you can see, I have the junior suite room, the standard suite, the Bayview Terrace suite, standard queen, king deluxe, and the executive 2-queen bed. And again, the last suite that this will appear will be the reservation creation screen. So while making a new reservation, I'm going to simply leave it on all room types. And I will proceed with find room and rates. Now, this is the option to, of course, sort your rates and room types. You can either sort it by recommended, room type, or your rate. I currently have it set on rate, but I will proceed to the toggle for room type only. And again, it gives me the exact same order, which is junior suite room, standard suite, and the Bayview Terrace suite. If I were to proceed back to the rate category, and I'll click on a particular rate for advanced deposit, it gives me the exact same order as well for the junior suite room, Bayview Terrace, and the standard queen. Now, for the actual rate type, this may vary simply because you may have certain room types that are not applicable to a particular bed or room type. I would also like to show a new hot topic, which is statistics. So we have implemented a new guest card statistics. I'll proceed to a guest reservation. Guest card statistics actually shows a good way of modifying or managing how much revenue a guest brings in. So whether it's via no showroom, a cancellation, any revenue and ADR in the past. So I will search for a guest reservation. And by hitting the back end of the guest card, which is this where the guest name is for Steve Karan, if I bring this down for the guest card, you will have the option for contact information, lights, credit cards, and payment, loyalty, statistics, activity log, and notes. I'll simply hit the statistics tab here. And as you can see, the first column, it shows a summary. So it gives a summary of stay, nights, cancellations, no-shows, your ADR, room revenue, and total revenue. You also have a detailed column, which breaks it down per month. So I'm able to see all of the reservations that are in November, October, and prior to. If I were to hit the November toggle, it gives me the actual reservations that were in November, and it will also show you if the reservations were canceled, no-show, or if there were actual reservations in which the guest stayed. The same thing for October. It gives you all valuable information for that particular guest. Going back to the summary tab, the next column over, it gives you the previous year for 2017. Now, data for the year to date is also comparable to 2017. So if you were to look at the stay total, you have 35 stay totals for 2018, and you also have 29 nights for 2018. Now, the percentages here in green will either go up or down based on the previous year from 2017 or any previous year that you were to select. You can select any previous year from 2016, 15, and so on. And again, you have your totals toggle on the far right-hand side of the screen. Down at the very bottom, this gives you the option to see the average dollar, as well as room revenue and total revenue. So anything for total revenue will pull from any charge codes that you have that are not strictly pertaining to room revenue for this particular guest. We also provided the option to show statistics for travel agency and company cards. So I will go into the menu option here, revenue management, and company and TA cards. So I will simply search for a travel agency. I'll pull up Expedia. If I go into the Expedia card, the exact same toggles exist. So I have the contact information, contract, statistics, notes, commission, and activity log. I'll go to statistics, and it gives me the previous data for any monies that were taken in from 2017 and compare it to 2018, which is the current year. So any reservations that were listed for stays that are associated with Expedia, all of the nights, any no-shows or cancellations, the average daily rate, as well as the room revenue and any total revenue that goes from any other charge code. Lastly, I will pull up a company card. And I'll, of course, toggle to the statistics tab. And this, again, gives me the previous year, which is 2017, as well as a year to date for 2018. As you can see, it looks like it's a 400% increase and a 300% increase for your total nights, as we do not have any total stays for 2017. And of course, it also gives you the percentage of how much the revenue has increased for the ADR, as well as room revenue and total revenue. All right, so at this point, we have completed all of the actual hot features, hot topics for our previous release, 4.8. I will like to, of course, discuss any questions that we may have.
Well, thank you, Tyrus, for that very thorough and concise presentation. We do have a number of questions. So the first question deals with room availability. Do you have any specific ID scan software that integrates with Rover?
So for the ID scan, we do not have a particular software. However, if you go into the actual reservation, if you wanted to scan a particular ID or passport, that does apply to every reservation. Now, I believe you mentioned that, was it related to the availability as well, or just the ID scanning?
He didn't specify.
Okay. So yeah, to answer the question, we do not have a particular software. However, we have implemented a feature which allows you to upload IDs and passports to each particular reservation.
Excellent. So the next question is a bit more general. Is version 4.8 an official release? Will it update automatically?
Yes, version 4.8 is an official release. So the features release, they actually come out roughly every 3 weeks to 1 month. So as clients, consistently give us good feedback and features that you may want to see in the future, we definitely take that into effect, and we would like to work on that. Based on priority to other hot features. So as features come out, we constantly release and try to improve our system. So 4.8 is a set in stone permanent release, and we will proceed to 4.9 within the next couple of weeks.
The next couple of questions deals with statistics. First question is, can we see the guest stats across all properties?
Unfortunately, this only goes to this particular property. So if a guest were to stay at, of course, the Wexford Bay Hotel, you will only see statistics for this property. So how much revenue you guys have generated for this particular night, how many stays, any cancellations or no-shows that pertain to that guest and that property.
Another statistics question. Does statistics breakdown also appear in group or company profiles?
Yes, it does appear in the company profile. However, it does not appear to the group. So again, if I were to go to the revenue management, and I can search for a company or a travel agency. And I have a list of companies, and you will have the statistics toggle as well for companies, but not the group.
Next question. Do room types get the same filter on reports that show room types? How about the group room screen?
Unfortunately, no. When you're organizing the actual room types, it only shows in the availability screen, the screen while making a reservation, and in the rate management screen for the rate manager.
This next one is a little longer. When looking at statistics for company cards, is the showing production only for stays actualized after this feature went live, i.e., Expedia is showing $0 for 2017 for our hotels, but there was production under this card?
So if I think the question is, if will it show format data for Expedia, Reservoir, or any company or TA prior to this release going live, which was 2 weeks ago. To answer that question, it will show data, or it should show data from from the previous release, if that reservation is properly associated with that TA or that company card. You may have duplicate TA or travel agency cards. So as long as that reservation is properly associated with that particular travel agency, though that data should appear for you from previous years as well.
So hopefully that answered the question. If you would like to submit a further question, feel free to do so. The next question is also about statistics. Can these guest profile statistics be printed in a report format or just on screen view?
Right now, this is currently just on screen view. I believe we are working on a way to have that printed as well.
Next question. To confirm, then, there is a way to quote unquote slide swipe an ID so that we don't have to take a photo and load.
I'm sorry, Justin, could you repeat that question?
So to confirm then, is there a way to slide or swipe an ID so that we don't have to take a photo and upload it?
Unfortunately, no. The only way right now is to currently have a photo uploaded either via scanner or by manually having that picture saved in like maybe a download file. We do not have a way to actually swipe that ID.
Next question. For sorting room types, is this something that each user can do separately, or does sorting rooms apply to all users accessing our hotel?
That should apply to any user that has a permission to sort the room type. So for someone that has a hotel admin user role, they will have permission to sort room types, but only for those who have permissions.
Next question. If so, what is it then that I have to ask to have included into my build startup system?
In relation to the slide swipe ID questions, follow to that one.
I'm sorry, what was the question again, Justin?
So this is I guess this looks like it's a follow-up to the slide swipe ID question. And so the question is, if so, what is it that I have to ask to have that included into my build or startup system?
So this is currently included in everyone's build. Based on the release, you now have options to go through and upload an image. Again, you would simply go to the guest reservation. And
just to clarify, he wants to know what he would have to do in order to include a slide swipe, as opposed to having to upload the photo. So. Oh,
I apologize for that. So, so to include a swipe for that, that is something that we will actually have to revert back to with that actual answer. It will take a while for us to maybe do some research and maybe have our development team to look into that option for swiping guest IDs.
Excellent. Next question is on statistics. Can you look up statistics on a rate code or only company and travel agency?
So it only goes to company, travel agency, or the actual guest reservation. So if you were to go into a guest reservation and go to detailed and sort by that month, you can actually see the rate code that guest will have. So, for example, if I go into the month of November under this guest name, Steve, I actually see the rate code with the rate, which is the bar, which is the best available rate. So you can see your rate codes in that aspect.
Excellent. Next question is dealing with room types. Is the room type display organization viewed by only the user that set up the order, or will it show for any user in the hotel?
It will show for any user in the hotel.
Excellent. Another scanning question. Is it correct that scanning IDs is optional in reservations?
That is correct. You do not, the system is not requiring you to scan IDs, passport or driver's license for any reservation. It's just simply a tool to help you identify guests in that way, but it's not required for any reservation.
Excellent. Oh, wait, there's one more question. Again, about statistics. Statistics breakdown report. Is there anything I can print out to show how many opt-ins for specific company or travel agency?
I'm sorry, Jessica, could you?
Yeah, so in the statistics breakdown report, is there anything I can print out to show how many opt-ins we have for a specific company or travel agency?
Unfortunately, right now, there is no print option for the statistics, whether it's in the company, travel agency, or the guest card.
Excellent. And with that, it looks like we do not have any more questions. Not yet. Tyrus, you have any last thoughts, or?
I do not have any other thoughts. It looks like we have gone through all of the hot topics for today's call. So just to recap, we have gone over the tracking of active and inactive users, again, which applies to overlay and standalone clients. We've also gone over scanning the passport and or ID of guests, which is not mandatory for standalone and overlay clients. We've also gone over, of course, navigating through Rover's availability calendar, in which you can click the actual available rooms to make your reservation, organizing the room types and maintaining the organization across several Rover window screens. And lastly, analyzing the statistics of guest company cards and travel agency cards. Since there are no other questions, I'll hand it back over to Justin.
Great. Yeah. Well, with that, I'd like to conclude our presentation. Thank you all for coming. If you have any additional questions, or if you think of a question right after the webinar, feel free to email me at jderise@stayintouch.com. That's JDERISE@stayintouch.com, and I'll make sure that we get your questions answered. Thank you very much for attending.